What's going on, everyone? Justin here with Trading Cards and More, back with another video, kind of a different video here. Just going to do some talking. There's a lot going on in the hobby right now. Shining Fates has now been out for a little while. We've seen what's happened with every Pokemon set. Just tons of scalpers, tons of flippers, people buying up product before it even comes out. They're buying the pre-releases. Pre-releases are sold out. People are buying this stuff to sell it, and then they're selling it to somebody else who's buying it to sell it to somebody else who's buying it to sell, and it's just this constant thing. It's all part of the hobby, whether you like it, whether you don't like it. It is what it is. Little story of my own. I got these Elite Trainer boxes at the card show. I was actually a dealer there. I'm located in southern Wisconsin, and I had multiple people come up to me on Saturday at the card show, and they wanted to trade me Shining Fates Elite Trainer boxes. Where they got these Elite Trainer boxes? Did they pre-order them? I know some of them got them at Target. Actually, the kid that traded me these boxes, he got them at Target. Paid the $50 plus tax. I mean, I know at least in Wisconsin we have a 5.5% tax. So looking at what, $2.50, so $52.50. Round it up to 53 if you want. He paid that per box, and he was just trying to unload them. He was trying to get $80 a box for them. I just wasn't interested. I don't want to open them, and you basically lose all your value when you open them. I mean, it is what it is. Colleen, what's going on? Mike, what's going on? Thanks for being in the chat, guys. Leave it a like, and if you have any questions, let me know in the comments section as I'm kind of doing my rant here. But fact of the matter is, a lot of these people are just buying this stuff because they know there's a resale value for it. So they're not actually planning on opening any of this stuff. They're just going to Target, they're going to Walmart, they're scalping all this stuff, and then they're trying to trade it or sell it or do whatever with it to try to make money. And they're basically jumping on the bandwagon because everyone else is doing it. My buddy Brett is actually just at Target. He did a live stream. I don't know if you guys follow him or not. There was 50 people at Target all waiting on product. Now, the way they're doing it now is you get in line, a virtual line, and they send you a message on your phone or whatever, and then you go there and you stand there for a few hours or whatever while they're stocking the product, and then when your number is up, you go up there and you get a couple products. It's all limited and all that kind of stuff, but that's the way it is now. With Meijer, you go in there, I think it's every Friday at Meijer at 3 p.m. You go to the electronics area, there's a whole bunch of people lined up, probably starting at like noon or something. People get their hours early, and each person gets a few products, and everyone goes home with something. If you're willing to put in the work, if you're willing to do it, you'll get a few boxes. It's not a big deal. From what I heard happened, there was a lady that was stocking product, and one of the customers got into it and threw hands with her, and Meijer decided that they weren't going to stock the shelves anymore. They're just going to put it all in the electronics area and have people basically wait in line for it. So Mike got the Zard from ETV. Very cool. Joshua, what's going on? Yeah, Colleen, you can say I'm sick of scalpers, I'm sick of flippers, I'm sick of this and that, but it's all part of the hobby. It's all, the good, the bad, the ugly. I believe in capitalism. I've run multiple businesses over the years. That's how I keep from having to work for someone else. I wasn't a big fan. I've had some bad experiences, and like I said, I've ran my own businesses, and people are always going to frown on you because you're doing something and making your own money and whatever, and you're going to have haters, and you're going to have people that don't like you and whatnot, and the reality is they're just miserable in their life, that they don't want to accept the fact that you can make it on your own, and they can't. So, ST, what's going on? Yeah, I heard I heard somebody threw hands with the lady that was stocking, and she got hit or something. So it's crazy out there, guys. Now my friend is in the Chicago suburbs. I'm in a smaller town in Wisconsin. But yeah, every single Target, every single Meijer, Walmart, whatever, there's literally lines and lines of people. Mike, LLC is pretty cheap. I actually have an S corporation. It cost me about $1,000 a year with the tax filings and everything. It's a lot, but it's hard to explain on video. But basically, my regular income, I only get taxed on about half of it, and then the other half goes through the corporation, so it doesn't get all the taxes. So it's kind of nice. But again, on my point with these boxes, I'm not actually gonna rip these. But this guy had bought all these boxes, thinking he was gonna get like $80 a box, and he gave me 5 boxes, so that's $400. Now I can get 420 bucks for these on eBay, minus the fees and everything. But he traded me for a Jason Tatum, red and yellow PSA 10 rookie, which I valued at 275. Now that was a little higher than market, so realistically I would have took like 250 cash for it. And he basically gave me more than that by giving me the 5 boxes. And if I can trade a card that's worth 275, 250 for 4 boxes, I can sell for 400 with pretty much a snap of a finger. I'm gonna go ahead and do that trade. Um, and the fact is that he might have got something that he wanted out of it, and he kind of broke even on that trade. But the reality is he could have just not bought him to begin with, and kind of, you know, the point I'm trying to make is that there's going to be a lot of people out there that are doing this whole flipping thing, thinking that they know what they're doing, and they're just in it to try to make money. A lot of those people are going to lose money, and they just don't know what they're doing. And when that happens, it might turn them off from the whole flipping thing, and then they never try to flip something ever again because they just failed at it. I think we're going to see a lot of that. Um, this is one product. I mean, Champion's Path, the ETBs were going for maybe 60 bucks, 65, 70 in the aftermarket. By the time you pay fees or sell it locally or whatever, you're really not making much of anything. And there was people that were flipping those. I know I had a few boxes at the show. I was asking $70. If I just keep on doing them, it's not a big deal for me. But the fact is that there's a lot of people out there thinking that they can just literally buy anything and turn around and resell it and make money on it. And, they're going to get a hard dose of reality. This is just not an easy hobby to make money. I mean, obviously there's products out there, you can make a lot of money, stuff like that. One second, guys, I forgot to turn my notifications off here. Just don't want that going off while I'm live streaming here. But so that just kind of reiterates my point here. Pretty much with anything, you really need years of experience before you start trying to make money doing something. I was just doing this as a hobby, kind of a second or third income for a few years, and then once I started actually making money, and then filing under my corporation, and then I went full time in 2020, and of course, the hobby went crazy and cards started spiking up 5x, 10x. The stock market did really well last year. Just you name it. It's just been a good market. And now you got the whole thing going on with the tokens, the online tokens. Can't think of what you call them. Fungible tokens. That's a big thing now. People that are nobodies are making millions of dollars right now. Strizzy Dog, I have an Instagram. It's the same name, Trading Cards and More, but I do not have a website or anything like that. Find a lot that'll trade Pokemon for sports, blah blah blah. Yeah, that seemed to be what NFTs. That seemed to be what people were doing at the card show. Was they bought this stuff and they're like, oh, I'm going to that card show. I'll bring this card show and trade it to one of the vendors or whatever. Reality is, I don't want to, take a trade on something at a $70 or $80 price point when all I'm going to do is turn around and sell it for $80. So there's no gain there for me. Walmart stopped selling stop card. I don't know what that means, Joshua, but that's crazy. Yeah, Top Shot's another one. Barely anyone can withdraw funds. Man, that's crazy. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Top Shot right now. What's going on, Michael? But yeah, just another, example of just what's going on in the hobby right now. The other thing I want to talk about was PSA. PSA did raise their prices. I'm getting a lot of comments. I did that PSA submission video like a week ago. I wanted to get all those cards in before the price rise. I had Ultra Modern, I had Modern, I had a few. I had a Pokemon order, and then I had a few Express cards. And I've been getting a lot of just negativity on that video in specific, that people are saying there's certain cards that I submitted that are just not worth the submission fees, and I'm the reason why. Like, there's so much backlog or this, that, and the other, and it's just trolls and people, taking out their frustration. I could easily say the same thing about 100 different YouTube channels. There's just one, for example, there's a channel that's submitting 500,000 cards last year to PSA. Now these are just people that don't want to submit the cards themselves, so then they just send them into the group submitter, and then the group submitter does all the work for them, charges them a buck or two a card or whatever they're doing, and then they submit the cards. And I mean, you get all kinds of cards in there. Some of them really probably aren't worth grading. And a lot of these people are collectors, and they're not even people that are grading cards on a regular basis. They're just collectors that are, oh, well, no, I can't submit cards, blah, blah, blah. Well, you weren't submitting cards to begin with, and if you were, and if you were a business, you would know that you just adapt to the market. And that's probably the biggest thing I've heard from some really smart, very successful people that are in this business, just like I am, that are saying the same thing. PSA had to do the raise. The reason why they had to raise the prices because they got so much backlog. A year ago, they had 1 million cards backlogged. Now they have multi-millions of cards backlogged. And they've tried raising prices a little bit at a time. They've tried cutting off certain services, yada, yada, yada. And no matter what they do, they're getting 100,000 cards every single week sent to PSA. How do they cut that off? They doubled their prices on everything. Plain and simple. It doesn't matter. It's not, oh, I sent a bunch of junk cards in, therefore I'm the problem. That's not the reality. The reality is there's a lot more supply and demand. People want graded cards. Collectibles market is blowing up. All these grading companies are getting bombarded with cards. They're hiring people as fast as they can. They're trying to get through the backlog, and they just can't keep up with it. So what do? They raise the prices. That's not my fault, your fault, Flipper's fault. Stop trying to throw the fingers at somebody and say it's this person's fault or whatever. That's the world we're living in now. There's more supply, there's more demand. The collectibles are worth more money, so PSA wants more money for it. The same crap happened last year with card savers. Card savers, you could get 2,000 card savers for $150 all day long. All of a sudden, all the crap happened, the shutdown. You couldn't get crap from China. Supply chains got messed up. There's supply and demand. Everybody needed card savers, send cards into PSA. And all of a sudden, the card savers went from $150 a case to $450 a case. I was ticked off. I was one of those people that let it get to me. It's just a piece of plastic, blah, blah, blah. But once again, the reality is it's supply and demand. You're going to use those card savers. You're going to send cards into PSA. You're making a ton of money if you know what you're doing. And that's just what happens. So, yeah, PSA raised their prices. Hopefully it slows down some of the submissions. There's just like everybody else. There's going to be cards that I might have sent before, and now I'm kind of fine-tuning and changing around my business model. You know what I mean? This last week I sent in some bowling cards. I speculated on the bowling market. Everybody's buying Serena Williams PSA 10 tennis cards for $10,000. Why aren't some of these top name bowlers cards worth $100? Could that $100 card go to $3,000? Absolutely. So I speculated on them. I sent them in, and if the market goes up on them, guess what? I got a whole stack of them. I'm going to make a crap ton of money. Is it a $1, $2 card raw right now? Absolutely. But that's why I bought them, is because there's money to be made there, and I feel like that market is undervalued. Yeah, I can't even imagine either. ST, the backlog it's got to be nuts. Doku Shin, what's up? Limits on these people, 500,000 cards. Yeah. See, the problem is they didn't stop their submissions, and they're not like specifically limiting people like how many cards they can actually send in. That's one thing that HGA is doing. They're a newer company. Everybody's going crazy for it because they got the really cool looking slabs. You can customize your label. They got the subgrades, and from what I'm hearing, they look better than Beckett, PSA, whatever, and they're selling pretty good in the aftermarket. So. Yeah, I think it's crazy. And they're limiting and only allowing so many cards. Now I think they're saying you can only send 5 cards in to HGA per person, because they were limiting how many cards they could take in every week, but people could submit 10, 20, 30 cards, whatever. If I double price and lose half my business, I'm still making the same. Exactly, they're still making the same money. And for us, a card that we might have submitted and paid $10 to grade, and then a PSA 10 sells for $50, now we're going to pay $20 to grade it, and then we're going to sell it for $150. So the price tripled on the card, and yet the grading was still really cheap. So it kind of all has to balance itself off. John Phillips, what's going on? 92 Impel. I have not. I did buy a bunch of the Lance Armstrong rookies for like $3 a piece. And I got like a dozen of those at PSA. That was just one of those GOAT cards I decided to buy. Jordan, Beam Team, etc. Yeah, I've not really seen those boxes for sale or anything like that. Yeah, I don't really worry about the Trolls 440 cards. I do respond, which I probably shouldn't, but you gotta give these people a dose of reality. But at the same time, when you hear this stuff every single day, like I said, I watch tons of YouTube channels that do cards, and I just watched one, and the guy's submitting, you know, base Topps Finest Jesus Luzardo rookie card that's probably worth $1, and he's submitting like paper Bowman blah blah blah, and it's like you could submit cards like this, like a Dennis Rodman second year card, probably worth 50 cents, but in a PSA 10 it's $40. So why not spend the $12? You know what I mean? So you can't really shoot the person's foot that's sending the stuff in, because there's value there, and there's a supply and demand, and they're running their business based on how to make money, the low-hanging fruit, all that kind of stuff. And there's tons of people doing it, and you can sit there and point the finger and say, well, you shouldn't send these in because they're junk cards, and you're the reason why they're backed up, and blah blah blah. But that's not the reality. It's there's just supply and demand. People want to send their cards in, and it is what it is. Yeah, that's really all there is. That's why I had to shut the comments down on my other channel, because there was just too many trolls and people saying crap that wasn't true and just all kinds of stuff. So unfortunately, that's just the way it is, and people are on the internet just to try to rile people up. But so the other part of this video I want to talk about was, cards I'm submitting to PSA still. As far as Pokemon goes, this is a limited set, the Shining Fates. I really like these amazing rares. I think they're well worth sending in. I think 10s are going to be, over $100 a card, bare minimum, if not more. And even if they get 9 and you pay $20 a card to grade them, you're still going to sell them for more than 30, 40, $50 more than likely. I really like the Kyogre. That's my favorite one out of the set. I bought a bunch of these in Japanese, and they're all at PSA right now. Main issue with these cards is the centering. The front centering is what you always got to look at, and it's almost never perfectly centered. But I'm sending them off, and it's kind of like a worst case scenario. If it gets a 9, I'll still do all right on them. But sending like the real cheap cards in at $20 a card is probably not the smartest idea. You have 100 Lance and De La Hoya Impels. Oh my gosh, good luck with that, William. I know there's not tons of people with the Lance Armstrong, for instance, graded, and you're definitely going to own the market on that card. My advice is to kind of sell one at a time. Don't just try to sell like 10 of them at a time and stuff like that. I see a lot of sellers do that. And the problem with that is people then can see that you have like a ton of them, and then they no longer think it's really that rare. They just think like, oh, there's a ton of these out there. This guy's got a crap ton of them. So stay away from that. And when you do sell one, what I like to do is sometimes I'll raise the price a little bit on the next one. Then that one will sell, and then I'll raise the price a little bit on the next one, and so on. And what happens is people look at the solds and they go, oh my God, this card's going up in value. I got to hurry up and buy it. It creates kind of a FOMO. That's what I was doing on my Tim Duncan's a couple months ago when Tim Duncan prices like shot up big time. Is I would constantly list the next one for 10% more, 20% more, whatever. And then that one would with no offers, and it would get like 10 washers on it, and all of a sudden it would sell, and then I'd list the next one for even more, and so on and so forth. So you kind of trend up with the market as it goes, and you kind of create the market price. But yeah, with 100 of them, that is insane. Hopefully you get a good stack of 10s. Make sure to come back on the channel and let me know what your 9 to 10 ratio was. All the ones I had were a little bit left to right off center. I don't know if the person I bought them from had already picked through a crap ton of them. But I bought like, I don't know, 15 of them, 20 of them, something like that. And every one of them had a little bit left to right. I don't know how nitpicky PSA was going to be. You could tell they're all packed fresh. There was no real issues with them or anything. But if they nitpick on that centering, then they're not going to get 10s. But worst case is they're going to be 9s more than likely. Eveltal, another nice. These are the 3 amazing rares from the set. And then the only other cards I'm sending in from Shining Fates are these V cards. See, in the past I would send the baby shinies off, which are like the shiny cards, and just the top is shiny. but I'm not going to be doing that, not at $20 a card. But I do have the other ones, which I'm going to be collecting and then selling off the extras, like the Lapras V, Rillaboom V, Rillaboom V Max. Check that out. I picked that up for $400. Had to have it for the collection. Only issue this one had was a little printing defect. I don't even know if I can even see it. It's like a line right there. Almost looked like a scratch, but it's just like a part of the print. They might not even knock down for that. I mean, you'd be surprised. I had one Charizard, it was a rainbow, and it had one of those like little pink dots on the back or whatever, and it still got a 10. The wristbands for Lance Armstrong, yeah. I was never much of a, I didn't really watch a lot of it, but William, appreciate it, yeah. So, and then after that, we got the Centiskorch VMAX, Textricity VMAX, Flinks. These are, I'm just showing these cards. These are like the cards that I will be sending in at the $20 a card. These are really nice, these gold cards. I really like them. There was the 2 promos that they had, and then this set had the Eternatus V and the Eternatus VMAX. So there's 4 total, I believe. Really nice cards, and these are pretty cheap right now. And then these were the promos. I think just like Hidden Fates, after a year, you had the Hidden Fates collection boxes, which had the Metagross and the what was the other one? Metagross and Zoroark. Both of those cards were in the tin, as well as the Rayquaza, and those cards were pretty cheap for a while. They were pretty cheap, and even the Metagross and the Zoroark went to like $30 a card raw, and they were like $2-3 when I was picking them up a year ago. So I think the same thing could happen with these, because the only way you're going to get these is out of those tins. So right now you can get these for like $5 a card, but in a year they might be $20-$30 a card. So because people want these ones to finish their shiny card set. I use BCWs. I actually ordered these straight from BCW. When Card Saver 1 was like way overpriced, I decided to use them. And they're not far from me. They're in Indiana. So I got a hold of them on the phone. They were very nice. And I placed an order. It was on back order for like a month and a half. The last time I checked, they were on back order for like 9 months. So I think what they did was they didn't cut it off. Like they didn't say, okay, we're selling our next order that comes in. They're literally selling the next order that comes in, the one after that, the one after that one. And they just kept it going and going and going to where they were back ordered for like 9 months, which I don't think was very smart on their end. I did try reaching out to them through email. I couldn't get a hold of them on the phone, and they didn't get back to me. Luckily, I haven't been submitting as many cards, and I did order 4,000 of these from them, which I was hoping, would last me like a year. So I will try to order from them again once the time comes, or whatever I have to do to get card savers, BCWs, whatever. I'll make it happen. Examinator, what's going on? These are SR1. Yeah, the SR2s are smaller. Those aren't the ones you want. You want SR1, Card Saver 1, the Ultra Pro, graded card submission ones. Those are the ones you want. They're a little bit wider. It makes it easier to get the card in and out like this. When this SR2s are smaller, and it's going to be harder to squeeze your cards in and out. You don't want to risk damaging it. So yeah, so PSA increase, not the end of the world. Stop crying about it. It is what it is. If they're a company, they got millions of cards sitting there. They need to slow down cards getting sent in, and this was their approach. And it might even continue to go up in price if they still don't see a slowdown. But every single person has a right to send any card that they want in if they're willing to pay the price for it. There's no card that you can tell somebody that they shouldn't be sending that in, and if they're sending that in, that's why they're backed up. Because I've seen plenty of PSA submissions with cards that weren't even half as good as some of the cards I grade, and I'm not pointing any fingers or trying to blame anybody or say it's this person's fault or that person's fault. It's just supply and demand, and people want cards graded, and there's only a handful of companies out there: PSA, BGS, SGC, CGC, and now you got the that new company HGA, and I'm sure there's a few more that I'm missing, but it's, that's why all these companies are popping up right now, is because there's that demand again. Once upon a time we had a lot of junk grading companies. We had PSA, Beckett, SGC, of course, and then we had all these other gem grading, and of course now we got that other one, GMA or whatever. I seen a guy complaining on a comment section. Actually, it was on Facebook. It was actually CGC. Was it CGC? I think it was CGC. Yeah, it was CGC. He had sent cards in. They said their turnaround time was 60 days, but it was 60 business days. He had sent cards into GMA, a few orders into GMA. He's like, "Oh, I got my cards back from GMA, and they came back faster than blah 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 blah." And this guy was just an idiot. First off, nobody wants graded cards from GMA. They're a no-name company. There's no value in those cards. That's why he was getting them back fast, because nobody's dumb enough to send their cards into them. And he was mad because CGC was taking longer, but it's people want the CGC more than they want GMA, so obviously it's going to take longer. Yeah, it just goes to show people just want something to complain about. They want to gripe and cry and point fingers and blame. And a raw Mahomes rated rookie, I have no idea, Benjamin. I don't do football at all. It depends on what Mahomes rookie you're talking about. I know his tops and his tops chrome are pretty darn valuable. Mahomes. He's got the Prism Silver. That's a bigger one. But I don't know too much about football, like I said. I know that card's worth a crap ton of money. But when you're grading cards, you really want to give the value of the card based on after it's graded. I like to go off of what I think a PSA 9 price will be. I don't assume the card's going to get a 10, so I give it like a PSA 9 if I think it's a 9 or a 10. Because you don't want to send a card in some service level that you're paying a crap ton of money, and because you're saying like, well, if it's PSA 10, it's worth this much, so I better do that. And then what happens when you don't get the PSA 10, you get a 9. Now you're losing money, because for what you pay for the card and what you pay for the grading, you might not get your money back out of a 9 if you're going those higher levels of grading. But yeah, if you want a value of your card, just check eBay sold listing, or go on ComC and check the market on the card. That'll give you a price level of what it's worth. It's pretty easy nowadays. Anybody that knows how to use a smartphone can figure out what a card's worth, unless it's some rare one-off or something where you just can't find any data on it. It's pretty easy in 2021. So, Shining Fates, good product. The other problem with these cards is they're losing a lot of value. I mean, obviously, I already knew that to begin with. Whenever one of these sets comes out, people always want to have the highest price, and they want to get the cards sold quick. And then what happens is everybody's dumping their cards on the market to try to sell them before the prices go down. Eventually, they kind of hit a floor, kind of hit an inflection point, and I think right now is that time. You're able to snag these cards up for a really good price, and a year from now, you're not going to be able to get these cards for $10 a card anymore like you are right now, $12 a card, whatever. They're really nice cards, so by the time I get these back from PSA in a year, they're definitely going to have more value than they do now, more than likely, unless they just print Shining Fates into oblivion, which I don't think they're going to do. I mean, you look at Hidden Fates, yeah, there's some more, they reprint on the ETBs and the tins and the box collections and stuff like that. They're still holding. I mean, I was asking, I think it was like $55-$60 on my collection boxes of Hidden Fates, and those were $20 at retail, so they were like 3x in price, even though they had reprints of them a few months ago. So it's gonna be probably the same thing with Shining Fates. It's a low market right now. Get out there, buy some cards. Stop complaining about high grading fees. It's just the way it is. But other than that, that's all I really have. Kind of a rant video, kind of a different style of video. Usually we're opening stuff, but I don't really want to open the Shining Fates right now because, like I said, the cards are kind of going down in value to the point where it's like I can just buy the singles up and not open an $80 box to pull $40 in cards. This is not worth it to me. I mean, it's fun to do. I like doing it, but I'm not going to do it if I'm going to lose money. So, thanks for watching. Have a good week. Have any questions or comments, or you want to be a troll, just leave them in the comment section. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.